All right, it's the next day, and we have got the block loaded up in the honing machine, and we're going to final hone it to 40 thousandths oversize. Okay, so I'll give you a rundown on how the hone works and how to set it up. All right, this is the operation screen on our hone. It's the Sonnen SV10. It's pretty awesome. I use it just about every day or every other day. It's just a great machine all around. So we're going to run it in English. We're going to go to setup. Our final bore diameter is 93 millimeter, which is 3-inch 661. Our bore length is 6/125. Our stone length is 3 inches. We want our overstroke at the top because these stones are a little worn at basically 5/16. And our overstroke at the bottom of the bore, we want it at about 1/4 inch. And that gives us our recommended speed for spindle RPM, which is 208. And then 80 on stroke speed. And then we'll change this to 208. And what this does is it gives you the optimized crosshatch for the bore diameter to bore length. So, and then our stroke length is 3.8 inches. So we'll set that up, show you what that looks like. All right, so to set up our stroke length on this guy, it's right here in this hidden control panel. You probably can't see it, but there is a scale right there, a measurement scale. And we're gonna set it to 3-inch 800 thousandths. So just take a 1/2 inch wrench, loosen this up. So we're just gonna be a hair over 3/4 inch. 3 and about right there. Tighten it back down. So basically, this is what it looks like on the inside. Let me grab a flashlight. There's a measurement scale in there. 0. That goes in 1/4 inch increments all the way to 9 inches. So that's how we set our stroke length. Okay, and then this is your overstroke right there. So this is your stroke distance. So you're at the bottom of the stroke, or top of the stroke right now, and then when it's at the top, you'll be at the bottom of the stroke. So we're just gonna check it and then make sure that the stones don't collide with anything in the bottom of the block. But it's a 22R, so there's nothing in there really, except for there is a screw on the front of the block for, actually no, it's on the back of the block, for the main rear seal housing that does go right into the bore. It's not super close, but it is close. So we'll just keep an eye on that, make sure we don't hit it. All right, we'll check the stroke, make sure we don't collide with anything. And unfortunately, we don't have a torque plate for the 22R blocks, which it's not a big deal. I'm not doing any high compression or anything like that. And I mean, this block is 43 years old at this point. Actually, probably older than that. We'll get our stones close to the bore size. Coolant off to the side. We'll open it up and we'll check it. All right, we're at the bottom of the bore right now. And we got to come way up with the block, like way up. So I'll get you guys in here so you can see what I'm seeing. All right, so it sits on this cradle right here. It's a tie down bar that goes through the mains where the crank would be. And then it just straps down with these two studs right there. Okay. And then the cradle adjustment is right here at the top, this hand crank. Okay. So if I move you back, you can see the whole thing. And then I'll try to get it to where you can actually see. Put you up on the table maybe. That's a little bit better. Okay. All right, so we got to come way up with the block. So I'm looking down in the bore, and I'm just checking to see where the end of the stone is at. And we need to be out the bottom of the bore a 1/4 inch. Which we're right about there. Okay, we got the block raised up on the bottom stroke, and then we're going to check to make sure that the stone comes out the bore, the measurement that we entered in the controller. All right, we are way over 5/16. So we'll come up. Check to make sure we're not hitting anything. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're clear. I didn't feel anything, didn't hear anything odd. So, which we have a ton of room in this block, so it's no big deal. All right, so we're shooting for 3-inch 661 and 4/10. So that's what I have set up on the dial bore gauge in our setup fixture. I'll double check it real quick. Dead on. Check a bore and then see how much we got to come out, or see how much we got to take out. So we got to take out roughly 9 thousandths. 9 and a couple of tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Double check this one. Almost 10 on this one. Almost 10 on that one, so like 9.5 on these two. Let's see what we are in this one. 9.5. All right, now that's done, we're gonna chamfer the holes, and then we'll start it. We just use a old drill with a paper cone on it. All right. I go 3, 1, 2, 4. That way there's no heat building up or not as much heat building up in the cylinders. That way we get an accurate measurement. So we've already checked everything, make sure that it's not going to collide with anything. Shut this, start it up. Our tension wheel set, which we'll have to adjust this as it goes. Set it at 20, and let it rock and roll. All right, we'll give it a check. We're at 5. All right, we got a ways to go. This block is unusually tough. So I noticed it yesterday when we were decking it, that it is extremely tough. So, which is good. Your first one always takes the longest because you're setting your tension wheel at the top. Four 9/10, 4 5/10. So we got about 2/10 taper. And it is heavy at the top. Let's see if we got the taper out. Four and 5, 4 and 5. All right. We got 4.5 thousandths left to come out. Got 3.5 to go. 2 4/10. 2. So we're heavy at the top. 2 2/10. 2 1/10. The bottom. About 1/10. On 1/10. All right, getting close. Okay, we are 3/10 over, which is fine. 3/10 is like nothing. All right, we'll start on the other ones, and then we'll just do some little speedy uppy of this. Yeah, so that little piece in there that I was talking about earlier, I didn't think was going to be a problem. Ended up being a problem. I collided with it, but it didn't hurt the stones, so all is good. All right, let's continue on. Six. 6 thou left. Two and a half. Two and a half. Very straight. exactly 1 thou at the top and 1 thou at the bottom. Yep. Should have a few tenths left. Seven and 7. What are we at? Middle. Oh, that's really straight. Okay. Whew. All right, 4 tenths to come out at the top, and there's 5 at the bottom. Four at the top. Five at the bottom. All right, we got 3 at the bottom. Let's try to get that out. We should be on the money. Yep. We are 1 tenth over, and I'm totally fine with that. One tenth over at the bottom, totally fine. On to the next one. Double check, make sure there ain't nothing in here. Feels like a casting number. All right, let's get rid of those real quick. All right, so we do have a couple casting numbers in the way. We'll get those out real quick. Yeah, light. Ooh, they're down there. And that one's out. Alright, got the casting numbers out of the way. Just didn't want them to pop a stone or anything. I don't know, we're ready to go. We're at 5.5. 5 2/10. So 5 4 at the top, 5 2 at the bottom, so we're heavy at the top. Let's work that out. Let's give it a check. See where we're at. 2 3/10. So we're heavy at the top. Should be pretty close. Five tenths. 5 tenths. We are 1/10 over, which is totally acceptable. 1/10 at the bottom. Actually, we're dead on the bottom. Take a little more out at the bottom. All right, we are 1/10 at the bottom and still 1/10 at the top. All right, on to the next one. Nine tenths. 7 tenths. We're heavy at the top. Four tenths. Six tenths, heavy at the bottom. Should be almost there, if not right there. 2 tenths. 2 tenths. One tenth. And 1/10. Still tight at the bottom. All right, we are 2/10 at the bottom, 2/10 at the top. All right, now we plateau it. Change the stone out with brushes. Don't ever use your fingers on these. It will light you up and you will bleed. Plateau goes pretty fast. And that is it for the block. Now we're gonna go wash it and put some rust protectant on it. Using 2 of the old main bolts, we'll lift this thing out. All right, so that was the final bore and decking process on the 22R. Up next, we're going to be doing the intake modification to fit a Holley 350. Then we got some powder coat. Still have parts on order, still haven't showed up yet. So maybe not a video next Friday, but maybe the week after. So still got a bunch of stuff to do on it, but hopefully it turns out good. But we're going to do a full rundown on the headwork and everything as well on it. Big valve kit on it, some dual rate springs or dual springs, and a dual row timing chain. I think a HO cam from Redline. So stay tuned on that. Oh, color reveal. We are going orange on this, so it'll be orange and black. So the block will be black, and basically all your key components like the valve cover, the front cover, the intake manifold, those are going to be orange, and then the pulley, oil pump and water pump will be black, and the water neck itself will be black, and the oil pan will be black. So some cool stuff coming down. Just, you know, cracking at it when I got time. So I'm doing all this after work. I do work a normal job. So, all right, like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.